We're finishing up with our floor plan sketches for our tiny house project, and we're ready to start doing some elevation drawings. So there's a few things that we need to understand about elevation drawings before we can accurately do those sketches. And one of the biggest things is the type of roof that you're going to put on your tiny house and how roof pitch works. You need to understand roof pitch to be able to accurately do an elevation sketch. So we're going to go over that today, and we're going to actually sketch a roof plan. In this module for this week, I've added a few things. We have the tiny house sketch details for the floor plan drawings that you've been working on, but I also added a module that's just common roof styles. So if we drive around the neighborhoods around here, we could find all of these different roof styles. Gambrel roofs are used often on barns. Down in town, there's a few houses with what's called a mansard roof. Most houses you see around here will have a gable roof. Some might have a hip roof. We can find shed roofs, flat roofs, and even on some modern or contemporary style houses, we'll find what's called a monitor roof. So we have all those different roof styles around here. But what I would suggest you use for this project is either a gable roof, a shed roof, or a monitor roof for your projects. I would not use a mansard or gambrel roof. They complicate things quite a bit on your CAD drawings. Even a hip roof gets a little complicated, and flat roofs aren't used around here as often unless they're on a commercial building, just because of snow loads. So that's why I'm suggesting you use a gable, a shed, which is just pitched in one direction, or a monitor roof for this project. Now, as we get started on the elevation sketches, one of the things that we need to understand is, what is roof pitch? So there's a PowerPoint slideshow that goes through and I tried to explain what roof pitch is. These are all of my notes for roof pitch. You'll need to decide what pitch the roof is on your house. Basically, it's just the slope of the roof given with a run of 12 and a rise, whatever you decide it's going to be. So roof pitch is expressed using rise and run. Run is always equal to 12, and rise is usually between 3 and 12 on a gable roof. So a friend of mine sometimes will call me and ask me to help him out on a roof. And I'll ask him two things. I'll say, what's the pitch and how many square? If it's anything over a 6 pitch, at this point in my life, I don't really feel like working on it. They get too steep, it's too hard on my knees and too hard on my back. So I usually don't work on roofs that are any steeper than a 6 pitch anymore. When I ask how many squares, that just tells me how big the roof is. When they talk about a square on a roof, it's just a 10 by 10 foot square, and that usually takes 3 bundles of shingles to cover it. So that gives me a rough idea of how big the roof is and what the roof pitch is. Now going down and looking at this, here is a 312 roof. You can see that it has a really low angle. We can find these on houses around here. It's a low pitched roof, but it has a run of 12 and a rise of 3. That doesn't mean it'll be 3 feet tall at the ridge. If the building happens to be 30 feet wide and I went over 15 feet, it would be taller because this angle would just extend up to the ridge. So this run of 12 and rise of 3 just gives us this angle of the roof. So that's the lowest pitch roof that builders would put shingles on. If you have shingles or cedar shake roofing, they'd want the roof to be at least a 312 or steeper to put shingles on it so that the moisture is running off the roof. Now, if somebody's going to have a shed roof with a pitch of 112, we can put a seamed metal roof on it, and that'll be fine. So we can do a real low-pitched roof on this project if you want to. You can see on this diagram, we've still gone over 12 inches, up 3, up 6. That's a real common roof pitch around here, 612. And you can see how it just gets steeper. Same thing happens as we go up to a 9-pitch roof and a 12-pitch roof. We could have anything in between there, any whole number. We could have an 8, a 7, a 5 on there. But you'll see these different roof pitches even on houses around here. As you drive down 5th Street, you'll see some Cape Cod style houses. They do have a real steep roof on them, usually a 12-12, because they have living space, bedrooms up here in the attic area. Now here's how we'll use this on the elevation sketches. When we start doing the sketch today, we're going to have the walls of our building projected down. Usually we'll have to do this in the side view, but it depends on how your roof plan works. Once we have the walls down, we add in a 12-inch soffit. That's the overhang right here. You'll see that on every house you look at as you drive home today. The walls go up. There's a roof overhang called a soffit. Attached to the soffit, on the ends of the ceiling joists or rafters, is a board called a fascia board, F-A-S-C-I-A. So we're going to draw in the 12-inch soffit and the 6-inch fascia. That's where we'll determine our roof pitch from. That's where we'll determine our roof pitch from. That point right there. What we'll do is we'll go over 12 and up whatever roof pitch you've determined. So over 12, up whatever roof pitch you determine. If I was doing a 6-pitch roof, I'm going to go up 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. You can see how it would get steeper as that went on. Now when we do that, and we put these 2 triangles in, all we need to do is extend them to find where the ridge of our building is going to be. If this building's real narrow in this section, these triangles will overlap and the ridge might end up being way down here. But we just extend those lines at the same angle to find the ridge. After that, we just add what's called a rake board on a gable roof. You'll see these when you drive home today on every house that has a gable roof. And we'll add what's called a roof pitch indicator to tell everyone what the roof pitch is on that roof. This last slide I put in here as just a step-by-step set of notes for the steps that we use as we work on an elevation sketch. We'll go over more about the door and window details and the siding details later. But what we want to end up with on your worksheet is a sketch that looks something like this, that really gives someone an idea of what our tiny house is going to look like. Let's get started on one of these. First thing we're going to do is figure out a roof plan. So I'm going to give everyone just a quarter sheet of vellum that you're going to tape right over top of your floor plan sketch and create something like this. Most of you are going to need some help doing this because it's the first time doing it. So I want to help you do those. Because what we need to do at this point is make sure that we can design a roof that's going to clear all of the water off the roof. A lot of times, the first time people do this, they start drawing in different lines and different planes, and they end up pitching water back into the building or not having water clear off the building, and we run into a big problem. So on this one that we're looking at right now, I want to go ahead and I want to try to put a roof plan on. I'm going to do some really light lines first to just do some work around here and show you that color won't work well. So if I'm doing this roof plan, I need roof around this entire perimeter of the building. And the covered porch. So that's the outline of my roof that I need. Now, I've already figured one of these out, and what I want to try and do is put a gable roof on this main part of the building right here. So that's the first thing that I'm going to worry about is that main part of the building. When you put a gable roof on these, you're going to have ridges, the tallest part of the building. If we have two roof planes that intersect, we may have a valley, a roof valley where two roof faces come together. And we may even have some hips on certain roofs. But for right now, I just need to worry about the ridge and the valleys. Now, when I do this ridge, it has to be exactly in the center. So what some people would try to do is put a ridge right down here and tell me the water's going to run off the building here. That won't work because what happens is these walls would end up being much taller than everything else. So that will not work. So let's try to put this one on and make it look like the elevation that we're going to do. If I count this 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 feet, all I'm going to do is go back over 7 feet, 2, 4, 6, 7. And that's where my ridge is going to be on that gable roof. So if I didn't have the covered porch and I didn't have this little section over the kitchen and it started to rain, water would just run off of this roof down in this direction. Whoa, way too thick. Down in that direction or down in this direction over here. Now, I've got these two features that stick out, so I'm still going to just use a gable roof on those. But I need to include the valleys. So every valley that you put in on your design is going to just be at 45 degrees. So let's put those in. I'm going to draw a 45-degree line right from here, 45-degree line right from there. Where they meet, it gives me where the ridge is going to be. Now if it starts to rain, water runs down in this direction, this direction, this direction, and the water runs into this valley and off the building. So they were just 45 degrees. The ridge is right in the middle. This distance from here to here has to be the exact same as the distance from here to here, or mathematically it won't work and your roof won't go together. Now we have one more to do here, and I want to put a gable roof on here. Gable roof on here. So I'm just going to draw a 45-degree line. I'm going to bring this straight over. 45-degree line. And now I've got a roof plan where water is going to flow off of this entire building just like that. It's a gable roof. It has a gable over the main section of the roof. And two little gables over the covered porch in the kitchen. But that's the roof plan that I want to actually try to draw on my elevation sketches right now. Everybody see how that works? That's the roof plan. That's the first thing that you're going to do when you start your elevation sketches. Now we are going to just shrink this down and open up this because this is what you'll be working on today. And I'll need both these pages open to show you this next part.